Welcome to Healing the Spirit, a space where we awaken our creativity, deepen our connections, and remember who we are through the lens of astrology, archetypes, and art making. I'm your host, Jonathan Coe.
Hello.
Hello, Verena.
Hi,
Thank you so much
Jonathan.
for being here.
Thank you for making space for me and my big Venus and Aries.
Yes, I cannot wait to chat about Venus and Aries with you.
Me too. How are you
Yeah.
doing, Jonathan? I know we have not so much time, so please tell
Yeah.
me
We're
your
I think we should just get started. This is
Venus and
this
Aries.
is this is how I've been doing conversations recently. Like we just get on and we just start. Yeah.
It's no video, right?
I was going to, if you don't want me to share the video, I will not.
Ah, okay. Do you usually?
I recently started posting on YouTube because I was like, why not? Some people
Ah,
seem to
okay.
like seeing our faces, but if
So
you
if
don't
it
want to,
works,
that's fine. Yeah.
if it works for you, I just let me just see because I have not such a good lighting situation, but we
Uh-huh.
can do it. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not super, it doesn't care. I don't care if I look ugly. I
I
mean,
don't care either because I was, honestly, the YouTube is not for me. That's how I think about it, Verena. It's like, oh,
right.
and I don't
I
know.
did I did
I
not do my hair today, but I think it will work.
Listen, it's really up to you. If you feel comfortable, we can do it. If you don't feel comfortable, I don't have to post this either.
It's okay.
It's okay. Great.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think, the vibe with Neptune and Saturn and Aries is just do it.
definitely.
Just
Mm.
do it. I mean, I think people listening or watching are lucky to have us here.
Yeah, and I
This is
must say, Jonathan, I'm super happy if you ask me questions because I try to prepare for this and it's
no.
not
Let's
possible.
let's let's go there. Yeah. Okay. So I have Verena Borell here with me. My phone just dropped, which is Venus and Aries. I have Verena Borell here with me. Thank you for being here, Verena. You're one of the hmm. Whenever I think of you, I'm always so inspired by you and the way that you show up in the world and your commitment to walking the path of your own truth and to your own evolution is so inspiring to me, always. So, thank you for being here.
You make me emotional, Jonathan.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you that you invited me again. I think I have been on the podcast, but it's felt years ago, and I have changed so much, and my work has changed so much, and my perspectives have changed so much. So, and we have stayed in contact all the time. So, I'm happy to also be on your podcast again. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I know we are going to talk about Venus and Aries, and I trust that it will come in the ways that she wants to be here. And also, my first question for you, Verena, is tell us a little bit more about the changes you've moved through since the last time we had a conversation on my podcast, which I don't even know anymore now what the exact date is, but I know you've gone through pretty big transformation in the past year.
Yeah, huge transformation. So I think we could do the whole podcast episode just about that, but I really try to keep it short. Um, I mean, we met each other in astrology containers. So we met each others in our process of learning astrology, and that was one big shift that I had in my life, that I had a burnout in 2019, and then I lost myself and I tried to find myself, and I found astrology, or astrology found me, and everything made so much sense. And then the pandemic was happening, and I was sitting there and realizing that I have an online astrology business. And then I again experienced that I worked myself into burnout, even though I knew my patterns, even though I knew my soul's evolution, I knew all the stuff, but I was kind of trapped in what I now know in my own nervous system patterns of fight flight.
Mm.
And because I felt deeply, okay, my body is doing her own thing, and I'm kind of out of control. I'm stressing out and I cannot stop it. That brought me into somatic experiencing, and I was learning more about the nervous system. I was practicing somatic healing methods for me to find more safety in my body, to find more regulation inside of me. And in a very natural way, I brought it into my clients' work,
Mm.
because my clients struggled with very similar topics. We talked about the astro chart, and that was super powerful, but that's just from my experience, just one part of the healing process. It's the
Right.
intellectual and the spiritual and the soul level, but we still have a body.
Mm.
And yeah, from my perspective, we need to take our body and our nervous system with us. So I dove more and more into this holistic approach, I and even last year, and you know that I had a huge health crisis last year, which
Yes.
again pointed me towards my body, and also on a deeper, even deeper level, really, we went into, and I'm sure we will talk about this with Venus and Aries. I was invited in a very dramatic way into releasing my patterns around toxic productivity even
Mm.
deeper, and really allowing myself to or I was slowed down by my body,
Mm.
to say it that way. And I think for the podcast, it's important to know that over the last years, I went through this change in my approach to astrology. I don't identify as an astrologer anymore.
Mm.
I love astrology. Astrology is part of the way how it feels like my mother tongue.
Yeah.
So I cannot without astrology, but I distance myself a little bit from the astrology that is very common and out there right now. I mean, I think would be a Neptune and Aries topic. And I more and more feel that for my work, astrology is not more, but also not less than a tool,
Mm.
like somatic experiencing. And I use the tool to help, especially women, but non-binary people as well, who feel trapped in their own lives, who feel trapped in their stress spirals, people-pleasing patterns, and so on, to liberate themselves, and to embody their true self. And astrology can be a wonderful tool for that,
Mm.
because it brings you some clarity into something that you already know about yourself, but that you have maybe forgotten.
Yes.
And with somatic experiencing, we break free on a somatic level, so that we don't need any longer these fight, flight, freeze responses that have protected us in the past, but that are maybe limiting us in the here and now.
Yeah.
And I think that um, I also had this experience that I observed myself often hiding behind astrology, so that I have the feeling of Actually, I feel that and I know that deeply in my bones, and I
Yeah.
receive it when I meditate. And I don't allow myself to just say that. There's a
Mm.
part of me who says, yeah, but
Mm.
let's look if we can prove that by
Yes.
adding some astrology stuff to that so that you can say, it's actually not me who has this download, or it's not born out of my own experience because
Yes.
I'm not good, I'm not worthy enough. I need astrology so that I can prove what I experience. And that's not the way how I want to use astrology. That's not the way how I want to talk about astrology. And that is one reason why I don't talk so much about astrology any longer. Um, because I also see, and then I stop, because I also see that there are many astrologers out there who use astrology in a rather disempowering way.
Hmm.
And people come to me and say, yeah, but the
This
full
person
moon,
said this.
yeah, or the full moon is supposed to be about this topic, but I don't feel it. And then they mistrust themselves.
Right. Right. I hear so much of your Venus and Aries from that introduction, Verena.
Hmm.
And let me point out a couple words that really
Please.
stuck at me was burnout, right? When we think about Venus being in a fire sign, but maybe especially Aries, this experience of coming to maybe working very hard or applying yourself very vigorously to the point of needing to completely take a break was uh, jumping out at me. I think you had also mentioned even just the word uh, experiencing, because you trained in somatic experiencing, right? Am I correct? That's the
Yeah.
modality you trained in.
Yeah.
To me, the idea of like experiencing through the body and allowing your own life force energy, right, to start guiding the way rather than your mental faculty feels very Venus and Aries to me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for this reflection. And I also want to say that in the last years, also through my somatic work, and somatic experiencing is one branch of bottom-up therapy, so that we start with the body and with the
Yeah.
nervous system and don't need to use so much our thinking brain.
Mm.
And I combine it in my work with astrology, so the mind, soul, body comes together. But what I found out for me, what feels so helpful, um, when we look at the chart, so there are these different placements. Like for me, I have my Venus in Aries. That's a placement. And I see these different placements as our inner parts.
Mm.
So, and if somebody who is listening is familiar with parts work, I always recommend the book No Bad Parts by Dick Schwartz.
Yes.
He's the founder or the developer or yeah, of
Of
internal
IFS.
family system
Mhm.
IFS. And I see, even though I'm not I did workshops with him and I trained myself in it, but I'm not a certified IFS therapist or something like that. But I consider the different placements of our birth chart as our inner parts and also as the different needs
Mm.
that these parts have. And
Mhm.
I have a group program, the True You, where it's all about using astrology and the archetypes as finding out about your different parts.
Yeah.
And for me, my Venus in Aries is one of my inner parts who also works together with other inner parts and who is also in conflict.
Right.
And
Another Aries word.
yes, and I think when you know my chart, Jonathan, you know that I have a ton of oppositions.
You do.
Welcome to my life. And I see that now, or how I feel it is, I have opposing needs and desires and inner parts who are constantly. I try to make peace. I'm becoming better and better to have less fight and combat in myself and to find more and more balance
Mm.
between the opposites so that it's not like the polar needs crash against each other, but they're balancing each other.
Balancing. Hmm.
But I think it's important to know that for all astro lovers, my Venus in Aries rules my South Node in Libra, sextiles, and is ruled by Mars in Gemini,
Hmm.
trines my Uranus and my Saturn
Hmm.
conjunct in Sagittarius.
Hmm.
And she rules my Sun in Taurus.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
conflicts.
Yeah. Here's what I'm wondering about, Verena.
Mhm.
In your process of recovering from this most recent round of being burnt out and finding a way of working that feels more nourishing and sustainable for your body, for the life you want to live, in what ways have you found this knowledge or awareness of your Venus in Aries to be helpful?
Hmm. I think she is the part of me. Oh, and she's also conjunct my Jupiter in Aries,
That's right.
by the way. And Jupiter is conjunct my North Node in Aries. So
Yeah.
I think my Aries placements, but particularly my Venus in Aries, I think she really much reflects the parts of me or the part of me that is very resilient
Mm,
and that there is, I mean, I had really last year, for the listener, I got, after 2 months of not knowing what is going on with my knee, I got a diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis flare-up,
mm,
which came from a Western medicine perspective out of nowhere. From a more spiritual perspective, my body spoke a very, very direct language, or yeah, I understand my body why she was,
mm.
yeah. Mm,
Why she experienced that?
yeah, why she wants me to experience that. I
Mm,
would say that my Venus in Aries is the part of me that stands up after one hour crying on the floor
mm.
and feeling like I'm just dying inside. And I
Yeah.
think my Venus in Aries is also the part of me who reminds me that I'm here for more,
Mm,
or that I have a mission and that I want to have a positive impact.
yeah.
And I mean, she's also in the 11th house.
That's right.
That I, even though my Sun in Taurus in the 12th house, sometimes I would wish that I would be happy if I had this super, super quiet life.
Mm,
So, like this, um, having a normal job and maybe having a family and children and living in a nice house in a nice suburb. So, my Sun in Taurus would laugh when I would choose this life.
mm.
But even talking about that, I feel a little bit icky in my chest. And there's this, yeah, but it would be nice for a year, but there is more.
Yeah.
I feel this deep calling, and I think that's my Venus and Aries in combination with my Sagittarius placements and my Pluto in the fifth, probably. This is this part of me and part of what my soul wants to yeah, wants to experience in this lifetime, I think, is to, in a way, and I don't want to sound too bold, but be one of the pioneers who are
Yeah.
creating or who are paving the way into the direction of the new earth.
Mm,
And
mm,
I see myself very much, or I see myself more and more as a not a dreamer, but a visionary
yeah.
and a rebel and a pioneer. And that is not fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Big words, but the implication as you're walking your path is it's not easy. It's not
Mhm.
easy. I'm also hearing longing for impact. D does that resonate, Marina?
Yeah, for positive impact.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
my way of doing this is to work with the individuals
Mm,
because I deeply believe that the collective shifts because many individuals
yeah.
shift and
Right.
do the healing work. And the new paradigm or age of Aquarius, or I don't know how you want to call it, it's nothing that just happens.
Mm,
It happens through every individual who is doing
mhm.
the inner work and who is brave enough to look into their wounds and to um, do healing work. And that also includes Venus, the body.
Yeah.
It's, I think, especially in these times, and I mean, I think the Venus in Aries is the part of me that sometimes in my past, and that's even before I started with astrology. In my past, my Venus in Aries represents also the part of me who thinks because of my own upbringing,
Mm,
and the relationship with my father, that I'm just, I must fight for love. I
yes.
must fight for being loved. I
Mm,
must work hard for being loved.
yeah. Prove yourself.
Prove yourself. And
Yeah.
even if you work your ass off, you are not enough.
Hmm.
And this is also my Venus in Aries. But I think training, this training of not giving up in the fight for love, in a way. I mean, yeah, it's again, it's not fun experiencing that, and I think it will be until I die in this lifetime, will be my daily practice to be with this part of me who is sometimes more, sometimes less activated, and to heal this part of me who thinks she needs to work hard or needs to prove that she's lovable. I think I have done a lot of healing work around that. But on the other hand, I think that many things happen for a bigger reason. And
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, it's really a question mark. Maybe it also gives me this, yeah, perseverance or
Tenacity.
yeah, tenacity. I'm not giving up.
Mm,
So I can, I know now that I can take a pause. I can even take a pause that takes several years. I'm allowed to rest.
yes.
I'm allowed to nourish myself. I'm not, and this is one big lesson I learned last year. I'm not just my business, which is my heart business. I'm not just my business. I'm not just my calling. I'm also the parts of me who just want to lay in the sun and
Mm,
be and do horseback riding and hug my mom and cuddle with a cat and play
yeah.
with my niece. That's all beautiful. And I can nourish these parts. And in this phase of my life, it's actually my healing work to prioritize these things. But I come back to the mission or the this idea of okay, but I want to contribute. I
Yes.
want to support. I want to in some way
Mm,
um, be one of the souls who are trying to make a difference.
mm. Wow. I love that. I really feel all of your shares in my heart space and in my belly. Like I feel it as this, yeah, like this spiral kind of moving in the same direction. It's like for me, it's like moving from like left to right side and then kind of back to the left. I'm I'm curious what you found, Verena, when you started slowing down.
Hmm. Thank you for this question. I think I want to say that when I tried to slow down a couple of years ago, even before my first burnout, um, I found sadness,
Mm,
and so I did not slow down. I felt a deep sense of Venus and Aries being alone,
mm,
being lost,
yeah.
being confused, um, being different than others. 11th house.
Mm,
Um, and I felt a lot of sadness and grief and actually rejection
mm,
in a more um, big sense. Um, and so I did not stop.
yeah.
And when I slowed down with the help of somatic experiencing, which slowly but sure, and I'm still in this process of teaching my nervous system that it's safe to slow down. And when we work with the body and with the nervous system, it's not quick. So
Mm.
my Venus and Aries hate somatic experiencing because it's so boring. I do this for my Sun and Taurus part.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
she wants quick results. She's the one who loves to exercise in the morning and
Yes.
stuff like that. So
Right.
doing some strength training where you see after 1 week you see results, stuff
Mm,
like that. But it's good for her, and she knows that.
mm,
And when I learned slowly but surely, and I'm still in the learning process of rest is safe, doing less is safe. Um, I find and found a deeper layer of integrity, alignment, direction, and power.
mhm, mhm.
Because I no longer just moved from my upper chakra, so from my throat and also from my heart, so my passion.
Yeah.
But I now more and more, and again, I'm still in the process, move also from my root
Mm.
and from my sacral and from my whole body. And that's why one of my, yeah, messaging also says that I help people to create their full body, yes, life.
Mm.
That is this feeling
Mm.
of create your full body as life, not
Yeah.
only
Not
something that,
just yes from here.
yeah, from
Yeah,
your
from the
head.
head up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. Mm. Wow, that feels profound, like that journey from feeling your body and finding that sadness, right? And finding that feeling of aloneness. But then as you get deeper and you resource yourself more, coming back to life,
Yeah.
which is also an Aries symbology. Like when we think about Aries and spring, right? It is about coming back alive. Um, mm,
Yeah, and I think that a lot let me, I think my journey from the loneliness or the sadness to what I now feel more and more, this deeper aliveness or this deeper life force energy or this more integrity.
Hmm.
My way led me through healing, and I think healing is cyclical and spiralic. I don't want to say that I'm have done that and
Yeah.
it's now over and out, but healing my Libra topics about around mm, needing to fulfill expectations
Mm.
and needing to be the best so that I'm loved
Hmm.
and these things. So I think that my nervous system and my soul and my yeah, the way my energy system, which you can see in my chart, really reacted to this situation of an emotional absent father in the way that I thought, okay, when I want to be loved, Libra, and to get this or to try to get this, I need to fulfill his expectations. And how am I doing this? By fighting Venus and Aries, by working hard, by learning, by being the first and the best and the fastest.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that, I think that is something that Venus and Aries is really the pitfall or the learning curve for Venus and Aries is, I think, and still I think it's a lifelong learning for me in the different areas of life. Later, when I grew up within relationships, but also in job situations,
Mm.
in the relationships to my clients, to friends, to family members,
Mm.
it's always this, it's safe for me to not be the first and also allowing myself to to have this passion. And
Yes.
I think that's also something that I want to say with the slowing down. I think
Mm.
for me it is so important to slow down because I have repressed the parts of me who need rest and who need a lot of spaciousness and simplicity and grounding to not get overly confused.
Yes.
I think I am definitely neurospicy in
Hmm.
some sort of way. So when I'm just in my head, I'm just like, I feel haunted by my own ideas. I like my head is exploding, and the grounding is so important. But on the other hand, and that's actually my daily struggle, is one part of me said, yeah, please, that's enough.
Mm.
Stop working now. We want to relax now. We are tired. And the
Yeah.
other part is, yeah, but there's this beautiful idea. And we really, the world is crumbling. We need to help others to change. And
Yeah.
we want to write this newsletter now and balancing. And
The
that's
two.
also my
Yeah.
Venus and Aries, who says, yeah,
Yes.
we are here for something. Let's do
Yes.
it. Let's be
Yes.
creative. Let's create a new world.
Yeah. 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 I think what I'm hearing from you, Verena, is this balancing, right? And thinking too about your South Node in Libra, right? And the the work of balancing the passion that you have for your work, for the impact you know you can have in the world, and then also your day-to-day needs. Hmm. And this is making me think about how in traditional astrology, which I know wasn't really a you practice evolutionary astrology, right? And I take a both and approach, but in traditional astrology, Venus in Aries is said to be in detriment because it's, one way I think about it is Venus is kind of stranded in a foreign land, right? Venus's home is Libra, where she gets to make art and she gets to sing and she gets to listen to nice music. And in Aries, she has to pick up the sword and she has to fight, right? And then maybe the byproduct of that is not always really knowing what to do in that environment because it kind of goes against her nature. And yeah, there's kind of a discomfort that I think is maybe in resonance or in parallel with what you were sharing about your experience too. Like there is this part of you that just wants to relax, maybe watch, reality TV, right, in your on your couch, and then there's this other part that is like, make content. This idea is so great. Yeah. Yeah. What have you
Yeah,
found to be the most helpful, Verena, when it comes to, you know, your I'm just gonna paint the picture. Maybe the details are wrong here, but I'm imagining you, and it's like 7 p.m. and you're ready to wind down, and then another idea came, and you're like, "Ooh, I could write an email about that." What have you found to be helpful in terms of talking to that part and reminding them that there's tomorrow and that if you take a break now, that's okay?
I love this question, Jonathan. I want to give a pretty detailed answer to that because it's multi-layered. But before that, I must say something to what you
Yeah,
said about Venus in detriment.
yeah.
Um, my Venus does not like to hear that.
Yes.
So I think,
Tell me,
I
tell me how
think,
it feels.
yeah, because uh, just to touch on that, and it's up to you if you maybe later want to ask me again about that. But I feel deeply that my Venus in Aries is also so rebellious,
Mm,
and she does not want to put into a box,
mhm. Yeah,
and she really hates. And it's not me speaking, Verena, not the full Verena. It's just my Venus in Aries
yeah,
hates stuff like um, planets in detriment,
yeah,
human design, ways, and astrology, also astrology, ways of astrology who put you in a box
yeah,
and
yeah.
to trap you and to tell you who you are.
Hmm.
Um, she really does not like that. And
Yeah,
she's really here um, for this free, liberated heart,
yeah,
and also the freedom to change. Um, and also the whole Verena, myself, my true self, I can take on the perspective, what you just shared, that
yeah.
the part of you that is actually the part who loves beauty and harmony
Mm,
and peace, in an environment that is not like everyone loves you, but it's really harsh. And I mean, I
yeah.
think that is the environment that, I mean, I have a super loving mom,
Mm,
but I have this split between this loving mom and this emotional absent father. And I
yeah.
think that was for this part of me a very difficult and insecure environment in a way. And
Mm,
so I am set up like going into not giving up, fighting for it,
yeah.
not going into freeze and being sad about that and maybe developing a depression or something like that,
Mm,
but going into this, okay, then I show you
yeah,
that I can. And I think this is something that also I want to also open it up to the societal level. I think this is a reaction that
yeah.
is not only my nature and not only my nurture, but also societal conditioning that I was very, very supported in doing that. I was very much supported by the educational system, the school system, the university, the business world to go into this reaction of fight flight.
Mm,
And I was
mm.
actually, yeah, it was good and supported to say I'm so fucking busy.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
this comes on top of that, I guess.
yeah. Can I speak to the Venus in
Please.
Aries?
Please.
Asking for forgiveness for saying she's in detriment. She's safe here. She gets to be
Mhm.
rebellious. I
And
love
she
her
loves you.
rebellion.
And she loves
I
you,
love her
and
rebellion.
she loves your Venus in Aquarius.
Yes, yes. I feel like,
So because
yeah, I'm really glad you brought that in, Verena, because I do have a very similar this is you're reminding me of the other day I was reading a traditional astrology text about Mercury and Pisces, and they say Mercury is badly very badly uh in detriment in Pisces, and my Mercury in Pisces is like, what? Like, that makes no sense to us. We are having such a great time. um mhm. Yeah, it's really interesting.
mhm.
Yeah, and I think for me, when I step back from my Mercury and Pisces self, maybe similar to you, seeing this perspective more from an objective lens, I also do see, Verena, that in my life, mercurial endeavors can be very challenging for me. I'm always very drawn to them. Like, I
Yeah.
love math, I love music, I love writing, and they don't come easily, right? And the results may actually be fabulous, right? That's the other thing. The results of whatever it is that you're
Oh yes.
traditionally not well placed placements can be amazing, but it does often come at a as a result of overfunctioning, or there's an overcompensating, right? Like, for
Mhm.
example, for my
Mhm.
Mercury in Pisces, I can come up with really incredible pieces of writing, Verena, but it could take me a long time. And it might be
Yeah.
something that I have to cry a lot about, in order
Oh,
to get to
my
that
Mercury in the
point.
12th house. My Mercury in the 12th house is really, really feeling with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Jonathan. And also that, yeah, I think that when you mentioned, so it's so interesting because I have Venus in the 11th and
Mm,
you have Venus in Aquarius and you have Mercury in Pisces and I have
hmm.
Mercury in the 12th house. So
True.
archetypal overlaps.
That's right.
Um, but when you also, before you talked about Mercury, you said that Venus has to take up the sword.
Mm.
Um, and that's very interesting because I mean,
Does that
I also
resonate?
have, yeah, totally. I have
Uh-huh.
a morning star Venus, so
Right,
it's actually the brave. In the Inanna myth, it's the brave Inanna who goes into the underworld. So she approaches her journey.
right.
And when I work with female archetypes, and my love for Diana
Hmm.
and also my love for Pallas Athena,
Yeah.
it's always the more, and maybe it will change. So my secondary progressed sun just moved into Cancer. So ask me in a couple of years again. But the feminine archetypes, which I feel the most resonance and alive in me, these are often these mm, very, very independent, um, a little bit rebellious,
Hmm.
and this archetype of the warrior goddess,
Mm.
or and not in a brutal way, not in a harsh and a brutal way, but um, so there is something resonating with you when you say so. It does not feel icky for me to imagine Venus picking up the sword
Yeah, right.
and maybe sitting on the horse and
Yeah, yeah. And Venus, if you look at the pre-Hellenic myths of
Mhm.
Venus, Inanna and some other older goddesses, they are warriors, right? They are warriors. And um, it's so interesting. I haven't gotten to the bottom of this, Marina, but I do sense that in that older world, there is a really profound connection between fertility and fighting for what you want and fighting for what's yours, defending what's yours, right? The three are not actually separate. So these pre-Hellenic manifestations of Venus, including, you know, Egyptian manifestations, they're very fierce goddesses. Yeah.
And I think what the thing that connects what you just said, fertility and standing up for what you need, I think it's life force. It's life
Right,
force. And life force is, in my world and in my perspective, is source.
right.
It's source energy, what flows through your veins, through your heart
Mm,
into the world.
mm,
And then you can create new life in whichever, whatever form, a new world, new lives, new babies, and you can say what you want and what you need, and also maybe say no or fight against what is against nature, against life, against love, against truth.
right.
And I feel, especially in these times we are living now, I mean, we are recording this in February of 2026,
Mm,
which is a very, very scary, turbulent time. And there is a lot of grief and sadness in me. And even though I live in Austria, I don't live in the US. I feel deeply for what's happening in the world, not only in the US, but also in the other areas of the world. And there's a lot of grief. And I also had some meltdowns over the last weeks.
mm,
But I think the Venus and Aries part of me always says, yeah, and that's the reason why you're here,
right.
because you are needed.
Yes.
And that's why you're doing that.
Mm,
But I think that is this warrior goddess spirit which is coming through. So yeah,
yeah.
that's we are here for.
Yeah.
So, and what I learned is that even warrior goddesses are allowed to rest.
Mhm.
And
It's
that brings us to
part of the
your
training is
question.
learning to rest.
Yeah, that brings us to your question that you asked me, what is helpful for me to 7 p.m.
Yeah.
close the computer. So the very short frame, so really in the moment. So what I usually do, or for example, I have some very positive rules and structures. So I try to use the Saturn part in me who needs a lot of order in a more and more positive way. Before that, it was rather destructive. But for example, I have the rule that I don't work on the weekends.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes I have really good ideas and I have these creative urges on the weekend and I got these downloads and I feel very passionate about something. And what I do then, or when it's 7 p.m. in the evening and I want to close and do my yoga practice or something like that,
Mm,
I usually I type the idea, the sentence, the download very messy into my notes app.
hmm.
And I allow myself to follow this urge and this fire, but
Yes.
then I don't sit down and edit and write and do the work around that. So I catch the creative impulse and I don't, because I cannot repress it. It feels like, yeah, I cannot breathe when I repress it. So I
Yes.
let it out, but then I don't go into the refinement. Sometimes I put a note into my phone, work on the text from the notes app, and then I do it on Monday or on
Mm,
Tuesday. Or I have, for example, I have a weekly, and so this is in the moment. And then it's also important to, and this is something that is a long-term work to through somatic practices to really feel that it is safe
mm,
to close the laptop. So that is very different for everyone. But I would ask if you would be my client and had this problem, I would ask you, okay, when you imagine the situation, what can you feel in your body? And I feel a tightness in my chest and this pressure in my belly. And this need that I need to work longer. now. And then
Mm,
what I have learned through somatic experiencing is then to go to the parts of me that feel relaxed. For example, I go to my feet, and I feel that there's groundedness. There's tightness in my chest and in my belly, but in my feet is groundedness, and I yeah try to relax. And but this is maybe in the first week you need to work for 30 minutes longer
yeah,
because it does not feel yet safe to close the laptop for your body. But so it's really a work, a healing work that goes over months and years.
right,
So that I can work, that I could reduce my working hours drastically. Um, it was happening over 2 or 3 years
right,
that
right.
I feel safe enough, that my nervous system feels safe enough to do that.
Mm,
And even to do that without feeling much pressure or guilt in me.
yeah.
And what is also very helpful for me personally, is to really reduce external stimuli.
Mm,
And this is, I think, good for the parts of us that are maybe Venus and Aries, but also for the Gemini parts inside of us. So, because my Venus in Aries in combination with my Gemini placements and my Mars in Gemini, it's this energy of I have a new idea and then I want to immediately put it into action. And then I'm just 24 hours in creation mode and in visionary mode. And I forget to rest and to sleep and to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. I think it's very helpful for me personally to live in a very grounded and clear environment.
mm.
So I moved to the countryside so
That's
that
right.
I don't have so much noise
Hmm. You moved
on
from
all
Munich
levels.
to
Yeah, I
Austria,
moved.
right?
I moved from the inner city of Munich to the countryside of Austria. So really, I live now on the ground floor.
Mm.
So really on the earth.
Wow.
Um, I also, I'm not on Instagram. I'm super careful with whom I follow via newsletter or Substack. Um, I meditate twice a day, not long, but 10 minutes.
Mm.
So I do daily grounding, calming down work, when you want to call it like that,
Yes.
so that my whole system really gets used to a natural pace and that I'm not always in this high speed of Venus and Aries.
Hmm.
So I think that also helps in the situation of it's 7 p.m. and I want to close my laptop. I think it helps very much to have done this preparation work around, okay, not so many stimuli, not so many impulses from the outside. Also, really, what I learn is I have problems with knowing. So I always think that I'm quicker
Mm.
than I am, and then my
I'm just
Venus in
laughing
Aries.
because I relate.
Yeah, it's so frustrating for my Venus in Aries when she's
Yeah,
not as fast as she wants to be.
yeah,
But the Taurus part inside of me really does not want to be pressured.
yeah,
So
yeah.
she wants to enjoy. For example, I love to write, and um, then I'm super frustrated when I needed 2 hours for writing my weekly newsletter. But on the other hand, I don't want to pressure myself because I want to enjoy writing it. So
Mm.
it's always this, yeah,
Balancing, balancing.
yeah.
Ha. Thank you so much, Verena. That was really beautiful. I
Mm.
think what I want to highlight from what you said is it feels so important to remind those listening and also myself as I'm receiving what you're saying that this process, even though conceptually looks very simple, it can take years. I think even just having a realistic timeline, which feels to me very much like the wisdom of your Jupiter in 11th house in Aries, having that access to we can we can continue, this healing process and we don't have to force ourselves to come out the other side within specific timeline is so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even think that it never ends. So, from
Mhm.
my experience, especially last year, th- topics came back that I thought I have already healed, but they came back on an even deeper
Mm,
level. And I think that
yeah.
these processes, especially when we work with the nervous system, with the body, with our past life experiences, with our soul imprints, and I mean, we are the generations that really heal generations that came before us. And we are preparing the soil for something new. And I think, yeah, that sounds like a burden, but it's actually not. I think
Mm,
we I think the work is that we understand that it's not a burden
yeah.
and that we lean into joy and that this is actually the healing,
Yeah.
to do both, to look at into the dark places and to stop um, exploiting us
Yeah.
and enslaving ourselves
Right.
and really learning that, hey, we are here on planet Earth and this is actually an experience which has all facets, the beauty and the pain,
Yeah.
the messiness
Yeah.
and the balance and everything.
Hmm.
Um, And what I also feel called to say, one last thing that my Venus in Aries, I think I can imagine that many people who are listening to it and maybe who tuned in for listening about Venus in Aries is this relational part, just as one last experience that I wanted to share is that um, in relationships, I often and have this struggle between, yeah, I want to be free and on my own, and there are too many people. I don't want to be with humans.
Mm,
And then when I am being alone, I feel the desire for connection. And
yeah.
when I'm connected, then it feels very quickly too much.
Mm,
Um, and I think that can be also an experience for people who have this inner part. And I think there is this balance, or what I learn, and I'm in the learning process as we are all
yeah.
are. I learned that it is so important for me that I have relationships where
Mm,
I can be 100% honest and where I can also say, hey, after 2 hours of having deep talk, I love you, but I now need
we
time
have to
for my
close the
space, for
lid.
myself. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
so beautiful because my current friendships, nobody feels hurt or rejected.
Yes.
Everyone really understands, and I even have people who have the same needs. And
Preference.
so,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I think it's so beautiful to learn how to work with this inner part of us that wants connection, but also needs a lot of freedom and a
Hmm.
lot of independence.
Yeah.
And even with my clients' work, I found out that when I have a day where I have several client calls, that's too much.
Yeah.
One client call per day, and then 3 or 4 hours where I create in my own rhythm and where I
Yes.
can do my Venus and Aries things
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Verena. So beautiful, so wise. I'm just so grateful to be in your presence, and everything you shared today has been just incredible. So I will make sure that folks can find you. So I'll give the address to your website, and whenever people find this episode, this video, um, come look at the show notes so you can check out Verena's most recent offerings and sign up for her newsletter and all of the things. Thank you, Verena.
Jonathan, it was an honor and a pleasure, and I'm always surprised what comes up. When I sit with
Me
you,
too.
you have something in your presence and the questions that you are asking that, yeah, brings so many things to the surface. And I just want to thank you for giving me and all of my parts, and especially my Venus and Aries part, the space to speak.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.